Yeah, hi and welcome to a demonstration of EventRM. EventRM is a solution that's built by XRM Solutions for Dynamics CRM 2011 and CRM 2013. I'm going to take you through what the solution looks like in CRM, but as well how it actually works in with web portals, etc., which is where I'm going to start today. So if we go into the web portal here, so this web portal actually sit on your within your website. So you might have a website and then it says courses or schedules or something like that. As soon as they click that button, they'll basically go to this particular web page. Obviously it'll be skinned to suit your business as well. So by default, all the courses or the categories are collapsed. Okay, so you can see the categories and you expand on it as required, or you can expand all of them. If you choose all the courses and bookings that you want to book. Like a really significant component to this particular portal is that everything you see on this portal actually resides in CRM itself. So right down to the site, so you can see Melbourne, Sydney. Obviously you can add as many sites as you want, whether you want to call them Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland, or Brisbane, or whether you wanted to call it Victoria, New South Wales. Doesn't have to be state, doesn't have to be suburb, doesn't have to be country. So a site could be anything that you want it to be. So you can choose your sites, you can choose your categories, you can choose what you want to have here, whether it be code, course, duration, price, etc. So as I said, everything that actually displays here all comes from CRM itself. So the benefit of that is you've also got one point of information. You don't have to have multiple databases, one for CRM, sometimes you may have one for the website, one for printed schedules or whatever it is. You can only have to have one source of truth here, so which is quite significant. So from a client perspective, they would look through the courses that they wanted to find, and let's just as an example make a booking. So we will choose, let's choose this SQL course. So I'll click on book. I'll enter in there, either create a new account, or in my case I'm going to create an existing account, so John Citizen. Put my password in. Excuse me. And this basically takes me to the page that I've actually where I booked the course. So it tells me about the course, start date, end date, how many days the course is, where the actual site is, what my cost is. Now actually on that point you'll see that this is actually a cheaper price than what I actually was on the schedule, because there's a 10% discount applied, which I'll show you that in a second. But basically the system recognizes that I've come in as John Citizen and that I specifically have an engagement, like an arrangement with XRM Solutions or whichever the company is, and I have negotiated myself a standard 10% discount. So that can be done at the contact level, which is the John Citizen, the person, or the account level, which is the company. So it's already automatically seen who I am and applied the 10% discount. I can actually book myself, or I can actually book on behalf of a number of people. Let's just pick a couple of people there, that'll do. I can also add another person if they're not in that, also add another person here if they're not in this list. So for now that'll do. And so now it says I've got all myself plus these other 5 people, which means 6, which works out to be a total price of $14,256, and it's also going to apply a 2% surcharge if I pay my credit card, 4% for Amex. Then I can choose my payment method, so whether it be credit card, so it'll tell me what, in terms of recognised by Amex details, etc., or whether I want to pay by invoice. And for now that'll do for me, so I'm just going to accept my terms and conditions. If I don't accept the terms and conditions, it won't accept my booking. So at this point I've actually confirmed my course booking, and it says thanks very much. I can actually have a quick look at my course booking section as well, and I've just booked in on the 6236 as you just saw, and already it says that this is an upcoming course for me. Now I don't have any current courses, which is basically what I'm doing this week. It also tells me all my past courses. Now obviously as I use this as a demo client, I've got 49 past bookings, and it tells me all the courses that I've actually sat on in the past. Now you can see here, submit course evaluations is not one here because I've actually done that course evaluation. So it also has the ability to do online course evaluations. Now if I click on that as an example, it brings me to my course evaluation section for the course that I did on the 17th to the 19th of November, and it goes through all the post-course evaluation questions. And again, I should point out that this is all things that you would set at CRM level. So all these questions you can actually ask, what type of category of question it is, what the question is, and you can also work out, elicit what response you want. So whether it be a text response, whether it be a rating response, whether it be a yes/no response, etc. So, and these particular questions are actually come from MTM or replicate that of MTM, which is Metrics That Matter, which is a global course evaluation system that's used by Microsoft, it's used by Cisco, it's used by Adobe, etc. So if I was to do that, it would fill it in. And then basically, once I actually click submit, all that information would go back into CRM, and I could actually use that for reporting purposes. So therefore, let's say for an example, here's an instructor. Okay, so if I rated the instructor 5 out of 9, and that was my what I set my workflows to. If I said, look, anything that's 5 or less, which is pretty bad, that information would be sent off to my training manager, and then he could actually go back to the trainer. So the training manager would get an email saying, hey, listen, John Smith wasn't very good in this particular course. He got a number of 5 or less out of 9, and so therefore you could address that situation straight away. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to find out after 4 courses that that particular instructor wasn't particularly good at that type of course. You can sit down and work out why his subject matter, his knowledge on that subject matter wasn't good enough. His ability to respond to real world questions, etc., etc. So it's very good for just-in-time analysis of your trainers. Okay. Clients can also go into their own personal details section and update their details as they require. They can add their booking associates again. Right, so they can just add, so in other words, people that they would book on behalf of. And they can change that and they can submit that course. Here's another really cool thing. This is the course evaluation section. So they can actually choose what type of courses that they're interested in. Right? And of course, when I say courses, again, this could be used for events. Okay, so you could have events. So this could be the categories of the events. Again, remember that back in the schedule section, that all these categories were listed with the courses. Now I've specifically chosen for John Citizen, CRM, SharePoint, Windows 7 and Server 2008, and I could update that of course. And the significance of that is when I go back into the schedules page, right, I expand all that information, I can actually click this little button here that says courses that I'm interested in, and if I do that, it then shows me only the courses that I'm interested in. If you remember, CRM, SharePoint, Windows 7, and there was something else that obviously doesn't have a course listed, so it's not showing here. But I can actually filter on courses that I'm interested in only. The other thing you may remember from the My Details section, or the Booking section, is it also says courses, all basically, all the courses listed, all prices listed below reflect your 10% discount. So this is automatically showing the pricing less 10% because I'm logged in. If I was coming to obviously the website without logging in, it would show me retail prices, but as soon as I log in, it recognizes my credentials and basically applies my 10% discount. And course bookings we saw. Okay, so they're all courses we saw before. The portal also has a section for trainers, so the same applies. I'll just log in. Oops, maybe if I put that correctly. That's trainer. Sold.com. Maybe have got, I'll have to look at, let's have a look at credentials. So clearly I've got that wrong. So I'll go to training, I'll just get Anne's details. This is my training section. Okay. I got the password wrong. Ah, there it is. What's the password? Okay, so the trainer, as it says, welcome to the trainer portal. Same thing again. They can update their details. Okay, the trainers can update their skill level, so they can actually choose out of the courses that we offer. What can they train? So Anne can't train Adobe stuff, but she's reasonably good at business tools and CRM, and really good at Office 2010, etc. So once again, all this information feeds back into CRM. And once again, I need to point out that anything that we capture as far as data is concerned is reportable. So I can actually see, what courses that each person train, how frequently they train it, how good they train it, etc., etc. And I've also got a My Courses section here as well, so the trainers can actually see, what courses I've got coming up as I've reserved them, and once it's been confirmed, once I actually send that confirmation email to the client, that they'll get a confirmation email as well as updating their portal as well. So the portal actually works for both trainers and clients as well. On that note, actually no, I'll go back to we'll go to CRM now. So that concludes the demonstration of the portal for now. We'll go to the home page. It starts off with a dashboard. So we can have multiple dashboards as well. So we've got different types of dashboards. We've got marketing dashboards, also managers dashboards. Now this could be role based as well. So depending on your permissions that you have within the system, you would see different things. Now this particular one is actually a whole bunch of SQL reports, which won't show up just yet because I haven't actually activated that. So probably a bad choice in that particular case. But I could basically run live reports to constantly see what's happening. I can look at my marketing dashboard. I can look at my sales performance dashboard. There's so many different dashboards, and I can create my own dashboards, my own personal dashboards. Matter of fact, as an example, I did create my own personal dashboard called General Training View. Let's have a look at that. So in this particular case, I've got a course wait list, so I can actually see people who are waiting to sit on a particular course, or an event for that matter. I've got my pipeline, and whilst I'm here, let's have a look at the pipeline. First we'll go through to what Microsoft calls inline editing. Let's expand that for a second. So I've got my little sales pipeline here, and I've got all my opportunities for that, which is what this pipeline is based on. So I can actually see in my qualification section, which is that red section, I've got $8 million worth of qualification opportunities, etc. And the benefit of this is it's the inline editing is that if I click on this, it's not just a pretty picture. If I click on this, it now filters what that $8.8 million worth of opportunities are, right? So I've got all this information. And the other thing too is I can actually filter down. So I can actually look at, okay, what does that actually $8 million make up? Let's have a look at the probability. So if I click on probability, I can actually see that my probability is at 25%. And again, if I click on this, it should change it. Probably a bad choice of data. Let's just go again. So probably actually what we'll do, we will look at the topic. How's that? Probably better. That's better. Alright, so that gives us some information on where my main source of opportunities are coming from. So I can see they've got over $1 million over here. So if I click on that, now watch on this side as it gets filtered again. So click on that. It comes down to one opportunity, which is quite interesting. So I can then look into that and see a little bit more about it. And this is generic, Microsoft data, so it's not specific to a training or an event in this particular case. But then I can actually have a look at all that information, directly from clicking through to the system, as opposed to trying to get out and trying to find what it is, etc. But my point around this is that you can continue to drill down on various entities of data. Without having to leave this particular dashboard, And you can also, it's so much better than having just the old-fashioned SQL reports. SQL reports were very useful, but this provides, but they're also very two-dimensional, right? This provides you the opportunity to continue to drill down. I want to see what the probability is, what the status is, when's the what's the estimated revenue. I want to see what's, all kinds of information, and then I can go back one step, or I can go back home here. Alright, so a little home button there as well. Alright. Same again, I've got different types of contacts. Now these happen to be contacts on managers. This is the view that I created, so people with the title of having manager in their title over there. I can choose to see different views, so I might actually have a look at people that I need to contact today. I haven't set anybody up to call today, but I can actually do that. People that I haven't contacted in the last 3 months. Okay, so there's a lot of people here, so that could be an opportunity for me to ring them up and say, hey, listen, just reconnecting. We've got goals here, so I might have goals for different regions, and again I'll just give you an example. But click on this little arrow here, I can actually enlarge the chart. So what this chart shows me is I can set KPIs for my staff. Okay, so this blue circles indicate that's my target. I can create a stretch target as well. I can have a look, this kind of violet type colour, I'm not sure if it's coming through on the screen well enough, this is what the opportunities I've got actually in progress. So I've got just over $4 million worth of opportunity, but in actual fact I've only closed around about $500,000. That's what the green section says. And depending on how I was tracking for the day, there might be a little black arrow to show how I was tracking for the day specifically. So you could set up KPIs based on money, based on performance of service, etc. So it's quite handy. And then I've got another one here in terms of contacts by training course categories. In other words, this particular graph tells me that this is the interest I have. So this is where most of my interest lies in this particular category. So I can see that Visual Studio 2008 is the most popular of the course categories. So maybe I might be able to do some, schedule more courses around that, or do stronger marketing, or maybe I want to actually lift up these areas. So conversely, I can start looking at, how can I market more towards people who want to do business tools, so I want to actually increase that graph. So dashboards are fantastic for all that kind of stuff. And as I said, you can represent different types of information depending on what you want to see. You can have a manager's dashboard, which I showed you before, which had live SQL reports, but no data at the moment because it's a test system. But that could give me some SQL reports, live SQL reports. I could have marketing dashboards just for the marketing folks. Obviously, more sales-related dashboards for salespeople, etc. Okay, so let's go into the training. This is the training and events entity that we've created. You can go and have a look at all your accounts. So this gives me a view in terms of all my accounts. So again, accounts is Microsoft terminology for companies, organizations, and you can rename this, that's fine. We spoke before about the different types of views, like the dashboards, and again I've got all the views that I want to see. System views are what everybody can see, based on their permissions, I should point out. And then you can have my views. Okay, so I've obviously created a view called Clients in Texas. So as you can see here, I've got a couple of clients here in Texas, there and there. So if I click on that, now I can see just the clients in Texas, which is very handy. So, as I said, I can create views on people I need to call today. I can create a view, people who are interested in SQL training, people who live in the suburb of Mentone in Victoria. So it's very, very powerful in terms of the views that you can create. And over here I've got my search, so I can actually look for basically different types of companies. In this particular case, I might have a company called Cash, right? And so it comes up with Cash and Carry. Alright, so that's, I've looked at it that way. If I want to do like a use a wildcard, so I'm going to say something that's the word sales in it. And so therefore, every company that has the word sales in it, will come up because I've used that asterisk, which is the wildcard. Same thing for contacts, works pretty much the same way in terms of search, in terms of different types of views. Okay, but I've got a view on who are business owners, right? So again, as I said to you before, this is where the job title equals an owner. Created a view called office managers. So obviously their title, there you go, job title is office manager. I can create people that I haven't contacted in the last 3 months. You saw this before from the dashboard. Okay. As we go down, as I spoke before when I was showing you the portal, all the main source of truth comes out of CRM. It's one data repository, so all information is stored here. So I create all my categories, etc. in here. This particularly is showing not necessarily the categories that I created, but the people who are interested in various categories. Okay. One thing that I should show you is that on most entities that CRM has a side chart here. So if I click on that button, that side arrow there, I can actually see those side charts. And same again, if I click on Windows 7 as an example, we'll watch this area filter. And I can actually see all the people interested in Windows 7. Okay, so again, very powerful for basically analysis of what your clients are doing. And same again, I can create different types of views. Let's go into the course booking section. So this shows you all of my actual course bookings that I've created over time. I'll check, so I'll have a look at any bookings that I've created in the last 3 days. And yeah, these are the bookings that I just did before, 6236. Okay, so I can also have a look at any cancellations. So if somebody's cancelled a particular course, I can actually see who's cancelling the courses and whether they're frequent course cancellers. Here are the sections where I actually list all the source data. So this is where I'd actually put in my courses or events. Now the benefit is you only put it in once, and once it's there, as I said, it talks to everything. It talks to the web portal, it talks to the trainers portal, it talks to everything. Same thing with course categories. I list my course categories. Now obviously I can add more course categories by clicking on new, or delete them if I wanted to by clicking on that and then just deleting it. I'm not going to do that, but okay, so we go to training calendar. So here's a little quick view of what we've created to give you like a macro or helicopter view about what's happening within the organisation. It tells me all my courses that I've got coming up over the next few months, and we've traffic light color coded them. So in other words, this red, or in this kind of funny pinky kind of colour, indicates that these courses don't have enough numbers. If it's green, great, we've got enough numbers, and we can run that course. And there's also a yellow state, which means we've just got enough numbers, but maybe we need to work on it. The yellow is quite interesting because you can also run like workflows to basically say, okay, well we're at yellow, maybe we should have a bit of a push to make it green and make it profitable. So you can actually run a workflow to send out to the sales guys, say, hey, listen, we've got this, let's say, SQL course coming up and it's yellow, assuming it was yellow, and that you guys need to actually push this as a course that we need to run. You'll look here that it actually has the names or the codes. So AY is Anna Anyan, so she's the trainer in that particular case. 7 indicates the number of people on that actual course, and MEL or Melbourne here is the site that the course is running at. So again, I can quickly see exactly all the information about that course. It's just dawned on me that we actually failed to look at what happened with that booking that I created. So I'm going to go back to contacts, look at my client that I booked under, which was John Citizen. Where was that? So it was that. Okay, it's logged out and there's a timeout in that, which is fine, but that was John Citizen that I booked under. So if we click on John Citizen, and we'll probably just quickly take you through what you actually see here. So we've got all of our general details about John Citizen, what company he belongs to, his address details, the categories that we selected before from the web portal. They all list here, so I can quickly see exactly what categories I want. And again, if I wanted to add more, I can actually add in new interested categories. Now, I'll just quickly point out, you notice the contextual ribbon. So at the moment, I clicked on the address field, but these are my 4 Windows 7, CRM, SharePoint 2008, Windows Server 2008. These are my 4 interested categories. Now, what I want you to also notice is this ribbon up here. As I click on this section, it highlights that area blue, but it also changes the ribbon options. So that's what they call a contextual ribbon. So now these options are related to this particular section. So again, I can go and add a new course category. I'm not going to, but I'll show you how you do it. You simply just look it up, add your course category, let's say security courses, and then you'd save and close, and then that would list under there. So I can look at all my activities. So these are basically activities that have occurred. So the workflows run to say that there's been some course booking acknowledgements, and so these are the emails that are sent to John to say thank you for your booking on that SharePoint course starting back in February this year, etc. And of course you can make this as pretty as an email you want. You can add logos, etc. You can add file attachments to go with it in terms of where the course is run and what the map location is, etc. You can write notes and activities, whether they're vegetarians or whatever. You can look at their closed activities. So, about training. This again, training course confirmation. So there's 2 different types. Okay, so there's a booking acknowledgement. In other words, someone's booked on the web as an example and say, "Yep, thanks very much. We acknowledge that you've booked it." But then there's a training course confirmation. Let's open that one, which is a little bit different, and it actually says, "You know what? I'm pleased to confirm." So we're 100% sure this course is going to run, whereas the first one's just an acknowledgement. It says, "Please read the instructions carefully." Same again. You can make it as pretty as you want, but in this case we've said, okay, we've got a training course, start date, end date, lunch is included, the venue's here, and here's all the train, tram, bus details to get to us, what they need to do, etc., etc. So, and then you've got a whole bunch of other related entities, so you can add more addresses to that particular person, subcontacts, relationships they may have. So, that was connected, or relationship, John Citizen's related to another organisation, whatever. They can look at all their course bookings. Just expand that. So look at all their course bookings. We booked on this 6236. Right, so let's have a quick look at that one. So the course booking shows for 6236, John Citizen was the person who's booked, and that was the course details, and they paid by invoice, and that was the price that they paid. So great. What I can do then is also click on the training course instance, which is specifically that particular course in time. Okay, so let's open that up, and this will tell me about this particular course. So it tells me the course name, who the trainer is, the course code, the duration of the course, all the people that are attending. Now the other thing too is I can add or subtract from that manually if I wanted to. So just click on the lookup. I can add Alel just by clicking on that, and I can even take off Carmen as an example. Oops, just click on that and Carmen's gone. Alright, so I can add and subtract as needed. I won't do that for now because I'll just leave it as it is. I can select my facilities, so where the course is being run. See the site that it's run, and as you saw before I have Melbourne, Sydney. I can state the maximum number of attendees. So if I had that as 12, well, it is listed as 12, but if there was 12 or more, as soon as it hits the 12 number, it actually shows it up on the website as the course is full, so I'll have to book for somewhere else. Okay. I can choose whether I want to show that on the calendar or not. So at the moment, if it's a public schedule, yeah, I want to show it. If it's a private course or a private event, no, I don't want to show it on the website. It says the start and end date, start and end times. I can confirm it, so this has already been confirmed to proceed. So once I do that, it actually lists who confirmed the course, which is great, because if it's just profitable or not even profitable and it was confirmed, you can go back and say, hey, why was this course confirmed on this particular date? Hopefully that doesn't happen. We can list materials and expenses related to this particular course. So if I look here, I've got 2 pages of material and expenses, or I can click on here to see the full list. Let's have a look at that right now. So in this particular course, I've got accommodation because obviously I've got some kind of trainer. Just expand that. So I'm actually bringing in some trainer from somewhere else. I've got an admin fee. I've had to hire laptops. I've got lunches per person, marketing fees associated with this, per diem costs, room hire. And again, whether that's internal, you can have two different room hires. You can have an internal room hire because you want to cost it inside, or you can have an external room hire if you're going to an external room hire company. If you are flying your trainers elsewhere, you might have associated costs based around taxi fares and airfares and training manuals. And again, if you look here, you can apply this to one-off costs or a per day cost, and you can set that as required. Let's go back to the service activity. So that covers that off. As soon as I remove somebody from this particular list here, they'll automatically be shown up as a cancellation. And again, I can write notes for this particular course, as in whether there's car parking available if the training is conducted on their particular site. It also actually calculates the revenue based on all the people that are attending and how much they paid, right? So it calculates all the revenue that we've generated from that, and also calculates all the costs that we've actually occurred, which comes off, number one, the trainer costs. So it looks at who the trainer is and says what his cost per day is, and then it looks at all these material and expenses, and then sums them up to $9,242 in this case, and it tells me what my total profit is. So for each course or event that I'm running, I can actually see my profitability or loss in some cases for each course, which is extremely handy. A lot of times we go off numbers, we kind of have a feel for whether we've got enough numbers or not. This will actually tell you exactly how profitable you are. Alright, and as I said before, we've got those course evaluation responses, which obviously there's no responses in this particular case, but when somebody does your course evaluation on the web, or during course, whatever, it will come up here for data manipulation. Just a quick one. These are all the course bookings, etc. So one thing that I also want to show you is that the system automatically creates a marketing list. Okay, so this is a marketing list for people who are attending this 6236 course on this particular date. And what that does is it tells me all the people that actually set this course. Now I have, the EventRM has 3 different marketing lists. One for the course being SQL, or course category I should say being SQL. One for 6236, which happens to be this particular course category. And then this particular marketing list, which is the 6236, the SQL course, on this particular date. So when I'm doing future marketing, and I want to do a SQL course for the next level of course, which may be something like analysis services, which is a more technical course than this, I could then market to this particular group of people by clicking one marketing list, which is this course and this date. Or I can choose the last 3 dates. So the last 3 times I've run this course, pick those 3, and anybody within this list will get that marketing email. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Alright, so that talks about 6236. If for whatever reason that I wanted to basically communicate with this group of people, I could just easily send a direct email, and it might be about I can create a template that's called schedule change for date or whatever, but or I can even send the course confirmation from here if I wanted to again. So in this case I can press send. Bear in mind, there already is a workflow in place that as soon as it's confirmed to proceed, that they will get that email. Okay. So yeah, and I can also send, I can also run all my reports from here. So by a click of a button, I can actually have my sign-in sheet created as well. So instead of having to have, a different mechanism for running, creating sign-in sheets and stuff like that, this will actually print out a list of what the report looks like of all the people attending. Print out a couple of copies, one that goes to the trainer, one that goes to the front desk, etc. So that's course bookings. I'll just get over that for John Citizen. So there we were. So I'm going now into the training course instances, which is what we just saw, but this is again a detailed view, right? So this shows me all the courses that I've got coming up, and all of these courses will be copied across or synced across to the web portal, so that's what you'll see on your website, right? And as you can see from this list, I can see the courses that have got people on there, who the trainer is, where the resources are, what my profitability is, etc. Now this is the detailed view of the training calendar, right? So this is much easier to read. As you can see, I can quickly see that these two courses are profitable, and this is based on December. Whereas if I go into here, these courses are all there, but they're the only two courses I've got in December, or that's prior to the current date, so therefore that's why it's not popping up. But there is one there for January. I can list all my vendors, okay, suppliers, and obviously all their associated contact details. I can list all my trainers in terms of where they live, their rates per day, whether that rate includes GST. Some trainers charge GST, some don't. Their average rating. Now that average rating is summed from the course evaluations that the clients do. So it's not just a guess on how good a trainers are, it's basically what the clients actually think from their course evaluations, and that averages out, and it tells me on average rating that in this particular case, Anne Yan is a great trainer. She's got 8.2 and she's cheap, which is fantastic. Same here, I can go back to the skills matrix. I've only put in a couple, or three I should say. So I've got one for Mike Griffiths, who can train this, but Anne did fill in all of her stuff, so I can actually see that she's most capable of training. We've created this trainer availability section, which I want to go through. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It basically means that in the past, for myself, I used to use a bunch of contract trainers. So trying to find out who can train courses based on their availability would take a lot of time, because I'd run 12 courses or so a week. And actually trying to find trainers or having to ring them up just takes a lot of time. You could ring 25 trainers in a week, and each call could be 10-15 minutes long, because you can't just ring them up and say, "Hey, you're training this? No thanks, bye." You have to actually say, "Hey, how you going? How's the wife, the kids, etc., etc. Are you available?" They got to check it out and call you back, etc. Whereas in this particular case, a trainer can look after their own calendars, let's say Outlook or Google, whatever, and that would sync to CRM. I'm going to give you an example of this, right? So let's just say, for an example, today, this is Anne Yan's Google Calendar, right? Now this could be talking to her Outlook calendar, whatever. So she turns around and puts in her diary that she is unavailable because she's doing, let's say, a SQL course. Okay, so she's doing a SQL course from on Tuesday the 24th of December, from 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock. Gosh, from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. So basically that would then talk to your training company, or in our case EventRM's Google Calendar, and that would populate back into the CRM trainer availability. Generally speaking, it's working off a time basis, so it may take about 30 seconds to a minute or so, depending on how you've set up your system to actually view the calendar. But basically, it would, by the time it actually syncs across, you would press refresh, and there it is. There's that fourth one that came up. So let's just go back to the Google Calendar. It says that 24th of December from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Anne Yan is unavailable. Let's have a look at that. It says Anne Yan is busy from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the 24th. So if all of your trainers actually hook that up, it makes it very, very easy to look up and say, okay, I've got a course coming I don't even have to ring them. I know that she's unavailable, which is really, really powerful and saves a lot of time. This particular section is all your evaluations. Evaluation questions. So again, this is all editable, so you can actually, ask whatever questions you want. And as I said, you've got categories, the specific questions. You can look at the type of response that you're looking at, whether the response is required, it's mandatory or not, and whether or not it actually, look at these yeses, whether or not it actually includes in the ratings. So again, because this has got to do with the instructor, these questions will include the trainer rating, and therefore they will be summed back into that trainer grid and give us that average score. As people enter their responses in, they will capture all that data, and then we can create reports or dashboards based on that as well. So as I said, whatever we capture, we can report on. And same again, here are all the material and expenses that we spoke about before, so we can actually change them up for each event, or we can have general costs, whether it be, and we spoke about this before, whether we want internal room hire costs or technical training manuals versus desktop training manuals, etc. So that's about it for the EventRM side. There's a lot more that I haven't shown you that is built into CRM. If I did show you, it would take about 5 hours minimum, because there's just so much in CRM that it's really, really powerful. But I've really shown you just the the EventRM side of things, and I'm sure you appreciate it's very powerful. And the other thing too is it's very customizable. This is how we've built the system. You can obviously change it up. Obviously all the course information or event information could be completely different, and we could basically modify it, because CRM is built on .NET, which is very, very extensible, so we can customize it, we can integrate, we can get it to a lot of really cool things. Probably didn't point out that it also creates, I just thought of that, it also creates invoices for the clients as well. So based on that the course that we just created, the 6236, it's created an invoice which customers can PDF and organise whether they're paid or not, etc., etc. So once again, EventRM is very powerful. Feel free to contact me in terms of any questions. It's xrm@xrmsolutions.com.au. Thanks very much.